Welcome back to Your Out is Hillary Zwetzig, Director of Education and Outreach at MHA, Mental Health America, South Central Kansas.
Correct.
And
good job.
Got some special things to talk about today.
We do. So in honor of May being Mental Health Month, we kind of talked about it a little bit last week, but I also thought, well, this week let's talk a little bit about what services Mental Health America offers. If there's anybody out in the viewing audience that may need a little extra boost in what's going on with them. We know that approximately 1 in 4, 1 in 5 adults and or adolescent children are usually in need of some sort of mental health service, whether it be based on a mental illness or just a mental health struggle. So that's a lot of people.
Yeah, it is.
And we see more and more every day, and you know, our rates of suicide have increased. They went up and then they kind of went down and then they kind of went up again, and depending on what the age group is or what the particular gender is. So there's just a lot happening. And so I kind of wanted to throw out there what we do offer. MHA does have like 250 employees. And we offer services. I always like to say that if it has to do with mental health in Sedgwick County, we have our hand in it in one way or another. We offer things from birth to death. Basically, I brought my little cheat sheet so I wouldn't forget anything. So we do offer so many services. We have prevention programs that are very much focused in the schools. And those are programs that, I will say all of our programs are really focused on prevention right now, because we have discovered or rediscovered, however you want to say it, that prevention can definitely ward off mental health struggles, mental health issues in the future kind of things, especially with children. If we teach children and our youth ways to be resilient and have the coping skills and the ability to deal with life, you know, life's not easy.
Sometimes it's harder than others.
Yes, and you know, I like to tell my little ones that life is going to kick you in the teeth. It just is. You know, we want to be positive and we want to have that positive outlook, but we also are very realistic. Life's going to kick you in the teeth. And if you don't know how to respond to that or don't know how to respond correctly to that, it's going to keep kicking you.
I'll just take my teeth out.
There you go. See? That's one way to look at it. We're kind of like, okay, how do we deal with that? But that's a good point right there, is a lot of times we don't give our kids the coping skills or the critical thinking skills to even be like, oh, well, this is how I would deal with it. You know, a lot of times they'll just look at you kind of blank because we haven't given them the ability to think through, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what effect it's going to have. Yeah. We oftentimes stress that, you know, make choices that your future self will be proud of.
Yeah.
And most of them can understand that. If they're this high or this high, they're like, oh, yeah, to do things now that will reflect in my future in a positive way. And so our prevention programs, we have those in the schools. We have elementary, middle school, high school. We have pathways and paths, and we have boys to men and girl empowerment. And they all have a little bit different focus, but it all is very much dealing with age-appropriate things that kids deal with, as far as like bullying and social media and drugs and alcohol and smoking and all those things that kids face at different ways and different times, and with a mental health kind of angle. Yeah. Where how can we improve our mental health so that we are able to deal with those kind of things? So those are kind of our prevention programs that are in the schools. And then we have counseling and therapy. We have a whole counseling center. And we do counseling for kids and adults and families and veterans. And we have peer support and peer counseling. One of things, you know, we have therapy and med management. And we have counselors and clinicians. But we also have, like I said, those peer support groups. And we have some other things that groups that are not necessarily ran by a clinician, because a lot of times, we've talked about this before, a lot of our stuff that we're going through as a society is preventable in the aspect that sometimes you just need to talk with someone. You need to have a sounding board. You need to know and be seen and be heard. And that doesn't necessarily have to be that you have to go to therapy. Yeah. You know, when I talk to groups and I do presentations, they're always like, oh, you're going to send me to therapy. I'm like, well, not necessarily. I mean, sometimes you do need therapy, or you need counseling, or you need a group. But sometimes it's just a matter of find someone you can talk to. So we do a lot of things, work with people, and you know, if you have a strong relationship with clergy, if you have a strong relationship with your book club, you know, if you have necessarily relatives or partners, because well, sometimes they'll tell us what we want to hear.
Well, and sometimes they're a little too close to the situation.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, you need to be told things that you don't necessarily want to hear.
Yeah.
A lot of times. You know, that causes growth.
My family doesn't have a problem telling me something I don't want to hear.
Neither does mine, and neither do I. I am always very, you know, straightforward and in a very nice fashion. But I will tell you what you need to hear. And so some people have shut the door on me because of that. But, you know, that's okay. That's their choice. We also have, let's see, children's community-based programs that we have in the schools where we do case management and therapy. We have a whole partnership with Ember Hope and foster care system where we have some of those kids that come in to our facility and they do an all-day program where they get education and academic for half the day, and then they get social emotional learning, behavioral management type thing. Residential care, that is just a whole array of housing options for adults that may be struggling with a mental health issue or illness, or those over 62. So we have group homes and transitional homes, and I'm going to have to look independent living. We have senior housing. And also with our senior programs, we have a whole division ran by a lovely young lady, Miss Leslie, and they mentor up older adults with those who are in need of help of some interaction and some friendship.
Yeah.
It's not to go like clean your house or go get you groceries, but it's to come and spend time with you and kind of meet that need. We've talked to how important it is that
socialization is
and
important.
We're very lonely in our society. We really are, and that is so sad.
Well, ever since COVID, it got worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and when you look at, you know, the other end of life kind of things, a lot of times our elderly are very isolated and they're very living in their own home. So we have a program where we have mentors that are for that. And we also have a program that deals with victimization of older adults.
Oh, yeah, that's running rampant.
It is, you know, whether it's like a spam kind of scam thing going on, or, you know, people coming out to your house and trying to get your information, all those kind of things. So we have a whole program that addresses that as well to help the older adults. And we have adult and family therapy. And this Saturday, we have our Children's Mental Health Awareness Day at the park. It's at Sedgwick County Park from 11 to 1. Free, all free. Look on our website. It will be a fabulous event for socialization and other resources.